This is Trophy Gold, The Rot Beneath Winterbrook, Part 3. Let's recap to the um let's recap to the arrival at Winterbrook. I think that's probably the best place to start. So your characters thought that their mission was over, or at least that their time out in the wilderness was over. They discovered some very wild hidden secrets, quite somewhat by accident, while trying to acquire the bounty on Sindhu's head, which is Sindhu's head. Um, on the way back, the weather's gotten bad and the pass has snowed over, and you are going to have to stay in the town of Winterbrook for a little while until it melts. And Winterbrook was going fine. We saw you all just sort of relaxing in Winterbrook and taking in the sparse sights in Winterbrook. When you were called on your first night in Winterbrook, you were called to participate in a communal meal of stew that looks and tastes as if it is flavored with ash, and it is indeed flavored with ash. It was hard to get down. Nobody seemed enthusiastic about it except for two priests of Saint Fatima who were at the head of this line uh, in order to dole out this stew. I'm going to put a picture in the map because it's from the module, and I think it's kind of hilarious. It's like a little scene of the eating of the stew. And everyone looks so miserable about this stew. I just kind of love it. It's great. Um and and then that was the first day in Winterbrook. You had a set goal of passing the first day in Winterbrook, which you did. And so we will be, as we start playing, we'll kind of roll into the second day in Winterbrook. You also met some interesting characters. Well, I don't know how interesting they are, but you met some characters. You met the innkeeper in Winterbrook, whose name is Howard something. Howard, like Dumpledoo, or what is it? Howard Duppleby. And then you also met Barnaby Wilcox, who was like the kind of local militia. You saw the two priests, and you heard some banging away at the blacksmith, and that's kind of what we've learned so far about the people of Winterbrook up to this point. Taking a look at the characters, you have burdens that you must meet before this is over, and in order to achieve your burdens, you must find treasure or cash that equals up to the game currency of gold. And so currently, Sybil, you have 4 gold towards your burdens of 5, and you probably have some treasures as well that if you really had to, you could cash in if you needed to. Obeha, you have a burden of 5 with gold of 4, but a pretty significantly valuable antique or antiquity in your possession, so that will probably help a lot. Count Kaelin Leodon, you have 4 burdens, 1 gold in cash, and the ledger of Lord Bracken, which does have a certain value. And then Akale, you have 6 burdens and 2 gold. And in terms of treasure, you've got a fair amount of treasure yourself as well. So everyone's doing okay on the burdens count. Obviously, you should try to get more gold so that you can stash more away and get closer to achieving your drive. In addition to, you need gold to sort of heal at the end and for other reasons as well. So that's kind of how that's going. In terms of ruin, ruin scores are okay. The only person who has any ruin marked right now is above their starting ruin is Abeha at 4. Everybody else is at 3, so your ruin is okay. That's almost certainly a function of the fact that this is sort of a creepy mystery adventure or a creepy mystery village adventure, not like roaming around in a dungeon. So that helps a lot. But that might change. Who knows? And so, are there any questions or anything before we begin? Okay. Then in that case, we have arrived at day 2 in Winterbrook. Perhaps you all go to sleep at the end of day 1 with rumbling bellies because the innkeeper would not serve you any food that was not the charcoal stew. But the next morning, you can go and have regular fare, whatever they happen to have available at the tavern, which is called, it has a name. Can't remember what the name is, but I want to find out the name now. The Tower Tavern. Yes, this is kind of very vertical. You have a new set goal in day 2. Learn what's been happening in Winterbrook. This is a little self-evident in terms of goals, I think, because why are these people eating this weird stew and being so weird about it? You know, learn what's happening in Winterbrook. That's your goal for today. And so I think maybe just a scene with all of you enjoying some bread, and maybe they've managed to scramble up a couple of eggs and rashers of bacon for your breakfast. There are also a couple of other people staying in the inn who are hanging out in the dining area on the bottom floor. But let's just have that scene with everyone. Role play.
Actual food. Oh, after last night, I was starving.
You could have just had some of my provisions. I have provisions.
Well, you could have said that last night.
I did. I said, no, thank you. Dietary restrictions. I have provisions, and then I ate them.
I appreciate
I
that,
just,
Kayla. I wish I thought of that.
I assumed you didn't like hardtack.
Better than charcoal.
I enjoy hardtack.
Well, next
Soak it
time,
overnight, mix it with some butter, throw some bacon on it. It's delicious.
bacon. No, I have food restrictions. I have
Mm.
religious food restrictions.
Right.
So, we're stuck here.
Seems quiet enough.
We could probably make a few silver helping out around town, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say I need money desperately.
Count, Kaylin, you're really desperate for a little bit of extra funds, not enough allowance?
Yeah, I kind of I'm not doing great financially.
Hmm.
Uh, Also, I kind of want to ask Howard Doubleby what's going on. I feel like he's really bummed out. I feel like he knows that this whole town is uh poppycock, and I think he's not saying it because he'll probably face like political ramifications. But I think that's I think he knows something's up. He looks sad.
We could present ourselves as a impartial, uninterested party that he could express his,
Yep.
grievances to.
The only
And
thing is,
pay,
I'm not
if
good
we
at
help.
talking to people, though. Yeah, yeah, and also money, yes, pay. But I'm not good at talking to people, and I think maybe you guys are.
Probably a little better than you are, I suppose. Young man, you haven't really explored or adventured around, have you? How many small towns like this have you been to?
Oh, this is the first one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty evident.
I never left home before this. I'm having a lot of fun.
Well, one thing you should probably know is that every small town in this region has their own little weird thing. We just got to figure out what the little weird thing going on here is, and then we can exploit it.
Exploit it to do good in the world.
Or
Sure.
for money. Yeah.
I
Why not
guess I want.
both?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yes, I'm confused. Are you looking for money, or are you looking to do good in the world? Because my personal experience has found that those are separate things.
You'd think they would be, right? But it's just that I'm gonna die if I don't get the money that I need because I'm gonna like face a firing squad because of how much debt I'm in.
Mm.
We're all gonna die someday.
Oh, my misunderstanding. You're yet another noble who needs money in order to do something good. But first, you need the money. I see. I see. I now understand you.
Oh, okay, sweet. Yeah. Great. It's good to be understood.
Soft tack?
I'll take a soft text.
It's just hardtack soaking in water.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, and I know that now.
Howard Doubleby comes by and maybe he brings like another, couple plates of, food, whatever simple fare he has prepared. And he says, how is it so far? A mite better than charcoal soup, I imagine.
I might.
Well, eat up. You'll need the energy to survive the Winterbrook winter.
This charcoal thing that we had to endure last night. I know you mentioned this only happens once or twice a week, but may I ask, why does it happen at all?
Make a hunt roll.
Ooh, I rolled a 4. I get a token.
And you encounter something terrible.
Unfortunately.
He says, well, you see, there's well, I don't quite know how to say it. There's just and he like just and sprays all over the table. And he says, oh, I'm so very sorry. And he takes a rag and he begins he takes a piece of bacon from your hand, Obeha, and is like wiping it off and says, there we go, that's all good now. And begins. He's like, I'm very, very sorry. I've come down with something. I woke up this morning and didn't feel very, very well. I probably should take it easy. You might all have to fend for yourselves today. My apologies. And then he leaves.
You guys want me to cast a spell on him that makes him talk, or do you think that'll be extreme?
I think he told us to fend for ourselves. That gives us free run of the place. I'd like to go look in some of the back rooms.
Indeed. Let's go around the table at this point and find out what everyone's interested in doing. So, Sybil, you want to go take a look in some of the rooms. Sounds good. Obeha, what's your plan for today?
I think looking in the kitchen is Obeha's first instinct to see what else there is to put together, food-wise.
What about you, Akale?
I think I don't know what this town's like. What is this town's industry? Like, are they coal miners and therefore they must eat the coal as part of like some sort of sympathetic magic so that they will get more coal later? Like, where are they getting this coal from? How do people that kind of thing?
So Saint Fatima, which is the sister in this world, most everyone worships a faith that is, well, there's lots of different faiths, but they're all kind of tied together by this sort of overarching faith of the sisters, these women saints of myth. And Saint Fatima is the saint of charcoal burners. That's kind of her deal. And so the connection between the priests and Saint Fatima is clear. The connection between Saint Fatima and Winterbrook is not immediately obvious. But that is something you would know, though. You would know that at a basic level. But you can certainly go chat with the priest if you want. I think that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
They actually stay in the same building. There's a little lean-to building next to the tower part where they...
And I actually have a perfect excuse because I can go talk to the priest and go, listen, I have a different faith system and I feel like I may have insulted someone last night. Could you walk me through some things that
Indeed, yeah.
As a disinterested party.
Yeah, I think that's great. And what about you, Kaylin? What are you going to do?
Well, Sybil didn't say it was creepy, so I'm probably going to talk to Mr. Doubleby, and then I'm going to, if I don't get the answers I want, I'm going to magically make him tell me stuff.
All right, so that sounds good. Why don't we start with Why don't we start with Obeha going to the kitchen?
Yeah.
So Obeha, the kitchen is on the ground floor. The ground floor, I can't impress upon you how small the floors are. There's just lots of them, right? Well, like 4 or 5. It's just like bisected by the dining room on one side, and then the sort of like bar, and then right behind the bar is the kitchen, right? It's all very exposed. What do you do? And right now there's no one minding anything because there's no one new checking in. There's no, it's kind of just not being tended to. Breakfast is done. So
make my way to the pantry or larder or wherever they might be storing food or anything like that. If it's whether it's a small room or closet in there or something, another basement.
yeah, and just poke around.
Yeah, to see what there is to eat for starters, and then if there's anything out of the ordinary.
Go ahead and roll.
Go there.
Make a hunt roll.
Okay. 1 die. Yeah.
Unless you can make a case for a skill or a piece of equipment.
I don't think so. Yeah, it's a 4.
Take your token. Let's have a little echo from our first session, shall we? There's a trap door in the kitchen. Probably goes to some sort of basement storage area. And there's definitely something crawling around on the other side of the trap door. You hear sort of a shuffling, a scratching, a snuffling even, like a pig or something down there. Kind of a...
Is the door locked from the outside or at all?
It is not. No, you can pop it right open.
Yeah. Pop it open and see if there's anything, like open enough to get some light in there and see if there's anything visible.
Whatever it is, it's just outside the shaft of light. You can hear it and even like vaguely see its movement, but you can't make out what it is.
I think just like reach a hand just a little bit down and go, come here, boy, come here, get out of that food.
You have a massive migraine. It hits you like a wave, just wallops you. You actually fall back. Meanwhile, Sybil, you are going to... So there's the rooms are on the various floors. You're all on the 3rd floor, if I recall correctly. But there are rooms on the 2nd floor and rooms on the 4th floor as well. There are people staying at the inn. There a couple of them are down in the dining room right now. What are you looking for specifically?
Treasure that is not well guarded.
Okay, fair enough. Take a hunt roll to go surreptitiously poke around rooms.
I would like to try and use my skill in perception to...
I'll take that, yeah, to see maybe looking at like which fellow boarders look wealthier or that kind of thing, yeah.
Oops.
You encounter something terrible. We'll get to that in a moment. Count Kalen, Howard Duppleby has decided to go rest for the afternoon. He is in his room on the 2nd floor. You can go see him, though, if you want.
Oh, yeah, I knock.
He says, just help yourself to whatever you need. It's all right. I'm not really in any state to assist right now.
Is the door unlocked?
It is.
Oh, fantastic, guys. So, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I open the door, I walk in, and I start bombarding him with my pitch, which is like, hey, sir, listen, I'm not going to take up a lot of your time. I know that there's a lot going on in town. You guys are burning a lot of stuff out there in like a big pyre. That's suspicious. I think there's something going on with the church. The stew thing freaks me out. You're a businessman. You stand to gain a lot if this town was ever not like that. So why don't you tell me everything, and then me and my friends will make it all better.
He just and like just sprays bile and just crap all over all over the floor. he's like, ugh, ugh, you really ought to go. I'm so very sorry.
Get
I
like a
just,
hand towel.
yeah, you can grab something.
I asked him to give me a thumbs up if he's magically unable to tell me stuff without vomiting.
He just leans back. He's just like, he just leans back and turns over in his bed. He has no desire to talk.
Oh, shucks. Does the compel spell work if I do that?
Oh, you can cast your ritual if you want, certainly. Yeah.
I would
Absolutely.
like to cast it.
I'm not going to make you roll because he's not really in any state to resist you. Force a creature to perform a non-lethal task. Okay, so what do you want to know?
I want to know what the grand conspiracy is that's going on in town. What are they burning? Depends. Yeah, either what are they burning or like, is there some kind of malicious thing going on with the church?
He says, "Oh, I probably shouldn't be talking about this, but they're they're burning the dead."
Is there like a plague or something?
And he says, "No, no, it's just well, it's I don't know. It hasn't really. You'll be happy to know that none of the other boarders have gotten sick yet. I think it's something specific to Winterbrook natives, but they're burning the bodies, I suppose, out of caution."
Oh shit, man. All right, well, thank you, sir. Sorry I bothered you. I'll wipe the vomit off his mouth with the handkerchief and I'll tuck him into bed and I'll leave.
Indeed. Meanwhile, there is a little sort of the actual like little tower, little attached to the Tower Tavern is where the two priests are staying. They are Rosalind Gambury and Benedict Oldman. Shall type their first names for you. And Devin, we can't hear you, Devin. They are they're happy to receive you. There's no like, they're not going to refuse you if you knock on the door. They'll say enter. Yeah.
I'll go in. I wasn't sure that you were talking to me, but you said Benedict, so I just thought of the East West Bowl from Key and Peele.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, they will certainly have you in. And Rosalind, I'll remind you, she's a stout woman, and she looks up and she says, "Oh, hello. How are you enjoying your time here in Winterbrook?"
It's much colder than I'm used to.
Well, I wonder if you could have anticipated that, given that the town's name is Winterbrook.
Oh, I thought we were doing small talk about the weather.
No, no, no. I'm afraid that these are dire times, and small talk is not really appropriate under the circumstances, I'm afraid.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll just get that back down to business. I don't want to insult anybody anymore. I have particular, as I know, I'm sure you understand the importance of faith and belief and ritual in one's life and how important that is. And I know that you would not want to disrespect. You would not want to have your beliefs disrespected. So while I cannot live outside the boundaries of my own strictures, I would like to know how I can better fit in for the time that I am trapped here.
She kind of chuckles. I should describe the space a little bit. So this little tower, which is where the Tower Tavern gets its name from, is the bottom floor is lined with books. This is where you're at. And there are 3 chairs in the center of the room, which are arranged in a manner of communion. There's a little altar as well. This is a temple, and I don't think it's a temple dedicated to any particular sister or God. It's just a sort of generic faith space. There's certainly no signs of Saint Fatima being the dominant faith here. She says, I have to confess, and I don't want you to take offense, but the matters that are going on here in Winterbrook have nothing to do with people from outside of Winterbrook. It matters not to me or to my brother, Benedict Oldman, whether or how you participate in our current ceremonies and practices that we have decreed are necessary for the health of the town. There is an affliction. It does not affect outsiders. You have nothing to worry about. You are not causing offense to me or anyone else. My only remit is to tend to the people of Winterbrook in the ways that Saint Fatima has revealed to us they must be tended to. Brother Oldman is no longer here for the morning. He'll be back a little bit later. Perhaps you could unburden yourself on him when he returns. But for now, I must continue my prayer and study to try to find a solution for what's going on here.
Well, I understand the impulse, and so I would, of course, love to. I would relish the opportunity to be of assistance to you in this. But
what is your faith precisely? Are you a follower of any particular of the sisters?
So this is where Devin doesn't quite know about the faith systems of this. So I guess I'm just gonna make
just
it up.
Yeah, just wing it. It's fine.
No sisters, no.
So you are a follower of an unlicensed heretical faith, then?
Yes. I assumed that by my garb and raiments that you would assume that I am not local. I'm going to give you a piece of advice, and then I'm going to leave. You are sending quite mixed messages. You say you have no desire for small talk, but you ask me how things are going. You say that you do not care. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. My sister in faith. You say that you do not need that our that the concerns of your town are not of my concern, but it's very, very important that I eat this stew. But it's not my concern, but it is very important that I eat the stew. You are giving mixed messages, and it makes me feel like I am my interest in help is not only unwanted, but possibly disliked. And I would like to have you meditate on that, perhaps, while you do your additional meditation. And she just walks out.
I think on your way, you actually passed Benedict Oldman, this other priest of Saint Fatima. And he says, "Oh, hello, blessings of Saint Fatima be upon you."
Blessings received. Additional blessings to you.
Are you quite all right? You look a bit flustered.
Your sister is
a lot, yes,
tactless. If you would like any help with whatever is afflicting your towns and townsfolk, I have already offered my help to your sister. I'm offering it to you. You can reject it as well if you would like, but
he kind of takes you by the hand. He's an old man, kind of hunched over, and he lives up to his surname of Oldman. He takes you by the wrist and he says, "You should know that I don't particularly agree with the remedy that Sister Rosaline has concocted for Winterbrook. But she is the senior priestess within our order, between the two of us, and so I go along to get along.
Perhaps you could enlighten me a little bit more about this remedy and how it came to be known.
At this point, Rosalind comes into the doorway and she says, Brother Benedict, perhaps you'd like to come in and help me interpret that particular passage within the holy text we were looking at earlier this morning. And he kind of gives you a look like, and then turns and goes to the little temple.
As like I'll grab my amulet of protection and be just like, give me strength to deal with these heathens. And I think she'll just walk muttering.
Very good. Where is everybody in time and space? Sybil's encountering something terrible up in the rooms. Obeha just got walloped. Count Kalen just walked out of Howard's room. Let's check in with Obeha. Obeha, it was like just a massive sudden migraine just walloped you. You actually fell back onto your bum. And whatever it is, you hear it crawling away in the darkness down below. I'm going to give you a condition. Throbbing head. Throbbing. Just put headache. Just put headache. How about that? Just go with headache.
Yeah. I think I crawl out of the kitchen. I've had enough of things in the basements. This clearly does not want me there. And eventually make my way outside and like wander down to the stream, the brook, the river that's there. Try and splash my face a little bit in the cold, icy water.
Perhaps you'll pass Count Kalen on the way out.
Yeah. Don't go in the basement. Don't go in the basement.
Hey, Obeah, you okay?
No, my head is gonna explode.
Have you been assaulted?
Maybe. I don't know.
I'm sorry about that, Obeah. You want to go? Tell me if this is too forward, but you want to go fuck him up?
No, I don't think it's something that fucking up is going to help with.
I understand. Double B doesn't know anything.
What's what did he say?
It's just like they're burning dead bodies, which I think is probably just generic. Like I think people die and they burn them. Yeah.
Did he say? And everybody had like the gears just start turning in an awful way. What do they do with them after they're burned?
They put them in the thing in the center of town and they burn them. That's what we've been looking at.
Yeah, but what do they do with the ashes?
Oh, good question. I don't know. You think they put them in the soup?
Maybe
God
that's
damn.
why people are getting sick.
Shit. Obey. I didn't.
Maybe
I
that's why.
didn't,
Oh,
yeah. I didn't think about
that sounds terrible. That sounds
Uh,
terrible.
Yeah. Yikes. So where do we go from here? Like, do you think that we talk to the priests, or do you think that we talk to the others? Like,
you might just now be looking out the window of the ground floor of the inn, seeing Akale storm out, have a quick word with Benedict Oldman, and then you might be kind of witnessing that scene in that.
I wave to her and I call her over. Oh no, we should go to them. And I'll start walking. But if Obeah doesn't follow, then I get caught in the middle and I don't know what to do.
Yeah,
you can just step right outside the inn and you'll be right in front of the temple where Akale is.
I think I might be interested in finding Sybil too, because since she is good with plants and remedies.
Well, let's talk about Sybil.
Yep.
Sybil, you are poking around in people's stuff when you feel the cold steel of a blade up against your neck, and a person behind you saying, well, what are you doing rummaging around in my personal effects?
The innkeeper said that.
You could come up and rummage around in my personal effects.
Said we had the run of the place.
Did he now?
Yes. He's the culprit.
And he will let you go. And you'll see that it is someone who you is staying at the inn. You've learned that his name is On, AHN. He has a very slimy look to him. His skin is loose and has an oily sheen. He says, I suppose there isn't much to do here in Winterbrook now that we're all trapped for weeks. I can imagine wanting to pass the time by committing minor acts of larceny.
Minor, of course. That's the key word here.
Well, I'm going to request that you do not interfere with my personal belongings anymore.
That seems like a fair trade. You don't stab me with that blade, I won't go through your things.
I'm glad we have reached this agreement with each other. Your name was Sybil, yes?
And you're on.
Yes, I am indeed. Just passing through.
What brings you to this area?
Just passing through.
Same for us. It's unfortunate we're all stuck here.
It is indeed. It is indeed. I thought the stew last night was rather delicious, didn't you?
Unfortunately, it wasn't quite to my liking. Do you frequently eat ash and charcoal?
I will confess that the texture was a bit grainy and that the taste was a bit bitter, but I have eaten worse, believe it or not.
I give him a long look, and yeah, I believe it. Absolutely.
All right,
Where
then.
are you from, On? You don't have an accent that I can quite place.
Well, perhaps someday, Sybil, you and I shall become fast friends, such that I would be willing to open up to you and tell you my entire life story. I suspect that time is going to be further away in proximity, temporally speaking, from when you tried to rob me.
Well, I suppose that does make some degree of sense. However, there's no time like the present.
At the present, I am going to sleep the rest of the morning off. He's ushering you out of his room. A bit of advice, Sybil. Don't go in the basements in this town.
Well, saying that is just going to make me want to go in them.
You've been warned. And he closes the door.
I bet he has something worth something in there. But
Perhaps.
that's for later, Sybil, to deal with.
At this point, you might be looking out a window at the end of the hall that looks out into the yard, where you will see Obeha, Count Kalen, and Akale in close consultation with each other in front of the temple.
Curiosity will absolutely bring me down to them. I want to see what they're up to.
And you are all back together again.
Sybil, do you have anything for terrible headaches?
Well, I have skills and remedies. Could I possibly rummage through my pack and find something?
I think so. If you can give up something for, or if you want to mark something in your one of your open equipment slots, that would be helpful. I will let Obeha clear that condition.
That's backpack equipment.
Yeah.
All right, I will pop in a, I don't know, a basic. Just quickly skimming through what's in the list. Fantasy Tylenol.
Yeah, you can just type in like, you know, herbs and remedies or something like that. Yeah, you can Obeha, you can clear that condition because it's not going to go away immediately, but it'll go away in due time, and so it won't affect you negatively.
Yeah, I think I relate the conditions under which I received that headache. Something shuffling around in the basement, and we should probably leave it alone. Doesn't seem like it wants company.
However, on the other hand, I heard from a gentleman upstairs who very kindly did not murder me that the basements in this town might be very interesting.
Well, how many of those herbs do you have?
That's a wonderful question.
I think we'll get worse than a headache if we poke our heads down there again.
You have the whole town of Winterbrook before you, and a set goal of discovering what's happening. You've kind of got half the story. People are dying from some apparent sickness, and they burn the bodies. And we think they might be putting the coal from the bodies into the stew. We don't know for sure, but it's not too far of a leap. You could probably flesh out the story a little bit more even.
Is there, I assume there isn't, because there are tyrannical priests, but is there a doctor, a barber, a physic?
The answer is no.
Okay.
On all three. There's nothing like that. In fact, I will give you a rundown of the basic kind of, I don't know, businesses is really what I'd describe it. There is a blacksmith, which we've established. There is also there's a mill where there's a bulgar there who operates the mill. And there's Barnaby Wilcox, who is the militia, and he has a small library as well. He's very into books. The two priests, of course, the inn, and there are a few houses where presumably people do some kind of like small handicrafts or whatever to make a living, but it's nothing, noteworthy. I mean, this truly is just a little stop in the road. I mean, there's not much going on in Winterbrook on a day-to-day basis. There's something definitely going on in Winterbrook right now at this moment.
It looks like on the map there's by the gallows. Is that a graveyard?
Yes, it is.
Oh.
I would like to propose that at least me and possibly one other person go speak to Barnaby. Barnaby reached out to me very specifically yesterday, and it is not was not expected for the head of the militia to walk up to a young woman reading a book out of nowhere and just being like, "I really like books. If you want more books." So and he might know a little bit more about people dying and such.
If you want someone to go with you.
Should we all go, do you think, or?
I think I'll head over to the blacksmith. I want to get my face shield repaired anyway.
Very good.
But just be careful. There's something going on with that guy.
I'm always careful.
Kaylin, what do you go to?
I'm kind of torn here. And maybe I'll tag along with Sybil just in case something goes wrong. I'm probably useless, but I could run for help.
Very good. We'll start with blacksmith. I think when you approach, you actually hear the banging has resumed, the clanging, clang, 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 clang from inside.
But
There is a man sitting on the wood stump outside of the blacksmith shop, actually wearing a blacksmith's apron. But there's someone inside still clanging away. He looks up and he says, "Oh, hello. How are you enjoying your stay here in town?"
Well, the food leaves something to be desired. Ha!
That is an understatement indeed.
How long have you been smithing here?
Oh, goodness. Our shop goes back 4 generations here in Winterbrook, and the 5th is banging away right now inside, as you
Well,
can
you must be
hear.
very proud.
She does good enough work. We're not really known for weapons, though, and she's got her heart set on making a sword.
Well, the heart wants what it wants, I suppose.
I suppose. I'm Garile Smith.
Sybil. And this is my associate, Kaylin.
hit my head.
Well,
We've actually come hoping that you'd be able to repair some items for us.
all right. Show me what you've got.
The very first thing I pull out is my face shield that has Nil's face as a part of it.
He looks at that and he's like, I think you're going to need a specialist to look at this. This is not really the sort of thing that, and he kind of like passes it back to you, not wanting to touch it. So I apologize if I'm standoffish, but we've just been through a lot lately.
Oh, what's going on? What's happened here in this town?
Well, people are dying in this town.
Oh,
I've actually lost a few myself.
dying of plague?
Who knows? Some people say it's a curse. Maybe it
Curse.
is.
What's the cause of death?
Say that again, Kalen.
Oh, sorry, the cause of death. What is it?
He says, well, this might be more of a show rather than a tell. You should head over to the home of Baris. Just down the way there, he points out a house. She's currently suffering from the affliction. Maybe you can give us some insight that Brother Benedict and Sister Rosaline have not been able to.
You should do that.
Well, we are very accomplished adventurers. We've seen many a thing.
Yes, yes, I'm sure you have. Well, he gets
Are
up.
you able to repair this? I'm going to pull out the shattered amulet of protection that I have.
Says, I can bang out a dented breastplate, and I can certainly mend a busted hammer or tongs or whatever sort of tool. I can flatten out a saw. This looks like arcane work. I don't think this is the sort of thing I can help you with. I'm sorry. You should talk to my daughter, though. She has a fondness for this sort of thing. And he goes inside. Clang, 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 clang.
I want to talk to the daughter because young people always have interesting things to say about their town. They always want to complain about their shitty little town. Lord knows I do that, but my hometown. So, but I also want to go. Was Baruch?
Baris. I shall
Baris.
type it for you.
Baris.
I think that's a good order to do this in. Talk to the daughter. Go see the dying person.
Let's check in with Obeha and Akale. You can find Barnaby by the brook. He's reading a book by the brook. And he snaps it closed when he sees you coming. Looks at you with his one good eye. Says, "How'd you enjoy your stew last night?"
I didn't eat it. I have religious dietary restrictions.
Indeed. Well, it's not for you anyway. It's really sort of a local concern and tradition. I suppose we're calling it now a tradition. How often do you have to do a thing for it to become a tradition, I wonder?
Yeah, how long have you been practicing this tradition?
Listen, Rosaline has a lot of ideas. I don't think they are necessarily sound ones, but she is a priestess of the faith and I'm not. And if she thinks that consuming the ashes of the dead is how we are going to inoculate ourselves against whatever killed them, well, I've eaten worse things.
So have I.
Where do you get the charcoal from? Do you harvest it? Are you coal mines? My family comes from a long line of engineers. So there's no mine around here for you to get the coal.
Friend, they're burning the bodies until they turn to coal.
Oh, well, yes, I'm very glad I didn't eat the soup then. Follow-up question. Why?
Sister Rosaline believes that whatever is killing people in this town, and there is something going around, that Saint Fatima has revealed to her that if we change the bodies into coal and then consume the coal, we will be made immune to the sickness.
And of course, since she's done that, no one has died and it's been a success. Correct?
He chuckles. I just do what they tell me. I just keep the peace.
I had occasion to accidentally stumble into the basement of the Tower Inn, and I'm not quite sure what I saw down there, but it didn't seem normal.
Is this a matter for the constabulary? Is this something that I need to look into in my official capacity?
Well, it doesn't seem very safe.
Does Howard have sick people down in the basement?
I'm not sure it was a person.
Well, you could be forgiven for making that mistake, that's for sure. Have you seen old Baris yet?
No, I don't know who that is.
Oh, well. I'll look into it. Thank you.
Oh, Baris, is that the one they call the gangster of love? Oh, that's Maurice. Never mind.
Or a different town.
Different town. Meanwhile, back at the blacksmith shop. Let's take a 5-minute break. We'll do the blacksmith shop. Sybil and Caleb, you go into the blacksmith shop, and Garisle turns around and says, can't get enough of me, eh?
Well, you did invite us in to talk to your daughter.
He's like, well, she's over there, hammering away. And he kind of just leans back in his chair. I think she's kind of like taken over, and he's just like kind of, a little sidelined right now. But you see her. She's a young woman, sweaty from her labors, smudged with, black smudges, and her hair pulled back, and she's just pounding away she looks like she's making a sword. Clang, clang, clang. What do you do, Sybil?
Does the sword look like it's well made or being well made, or does it look kind of
I don't think you have any reason to know one way or the other.
That's fair. I'm not particularly good at weapons. I'm just going to introduce myself.
She
Greetings.
stops. She says, "Yes."
I'm Sybil. This is my associate, Kaylin. And your father, I believe, has suggested that you might be able to help us with some modifications and fixing of some things.
Yes, perhaps. Is there a rush?
Well, there's not a rush. We're stuck here, but at the same time,
So then it can wait until tomorrow.
uh, I suppose it could, but
I'm
we've
sorry. I
heard
don't mean to
that
be
you're-
rude. I'm Lindsay Smith. I sure. What is it? What do you need me to repair?
Well, are you able to repair this? And I pull out Nil's face, the Nil's face shield.
She looks at that and she says, well, I don't want to say one way or the other, except I think that is an unusual thing to have on your person. That provides you some sort of comfort, I gather.
Well, the face is on top of the metal part of the face shield, you see. So it does provide protection. And also, was not a person per se. He was a bee.
She just shakes her head in disbelief or not knowing what she should think about any of this. And she says, I don't think I can help you with that. And then she goes back to her sword.
Can I ask her why she wants to make a sword?
She says, here, you can make a hunt roll.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm thinking that's one for asking the question. And do I add anything to that?
If you have a skill that would be helpful, or if you have a piece of equipment that would be helpful.
Oh, I offer a piece of hard candy.
Good. She's like, oh yeah. She takes it gratefully.
I get a 4 as my highest dice.
Take a die or take a token, and you encounter something terrible. She says, I'm making a sword because I'm going to use it to cut down whatever evil is in Winterbrook. Whatever evil killed my little brothers and sisters. Garl gets out and leaves at this point. I don't think he wants to be here for this part of the conversation. And Lindsay keeps going. She says, that bitch, Sister Coraline, wanted to put their bodies in a stew, but I wouldn't let her. No. I took their ashes, and I've put their ashes in this metal, the metal for this blade. And we're going to use it to destroy the rot.
Lindsay, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard. I'm in if you'll have me. Well, tell me everything.
Perhaps you could help me then.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's fine to meet somebody who wants to be of actual use around here.
I know. Yeah, this is great. Like, I'll do it. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Well, there's something missing. I don't know what, but there's an element that I need. I've dreamt of it. Whatever it is, it's beneath Winterbrook. And whatever it is, it talks to me in my dreams. I can never quite see what it is or where precisely it is, but I know it's doing this, or it's at least connected to what's doing this. And I want it. I need its blood, its bile, its viscera, its bone, its flesh, whatever physical form it takes, so I can burn it down and add the ashes to the blade.
Let's do that. Like, Sybil, I think we're going to do that, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I absolutely understand. I gesture again to my Nil face shield. That makes perfect sense to me.
Awesome. Yeah. Where do we go? Is it in the basement of the inn?
She's like, I don't know. I'm focusing on the blade. But I have a feeling that when you find it, you'll know.
Sweet. Yeah, it's in the basement of the inn. Obeya said, yeah, let's, yeah, great. Sybil, sorry about your family.
We'll help you get revenge. We're good at that.
The revenge
She-
is important.
Yes.
She says,
Fair.
I don't want revenge. I just want to kill and clean out the rot.
Yeah, no, that's even, yeah, I get it.
Lindsay, since we're going to help you and we're going to go down underground to find whatever this creature is, would we be able to borrow some pieces of armor?
She's like, I'm afraid we're not that kind of blacksmith shop. We don't do much of a trade in weapons and armor. But, well, there might be something around here. And she kind of like goes and, yeah, she pulls out like a metal cuirass, and she says, we could probably make this fit one of you.
You take it, Sybil. I like to stay behind and make people fall asleep. It's kind of my thing. It's going to be my thing if I ever do it successfully.
I think I could. I mean, it's better than nothing, right?
Yeah. Oh, this is cool, man. We got a plan here. Thank you so much, Lindsay.
And she says, and if you get a wild idea to push Sister Rosaline down into the brook, you'll get no objections from me.
Yeah.
Clang,
Do you think
clang, clang.
she's evil, or do you think that she's just kind of like a misguided priestess who,
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, let's say. And then she clang, clang, clangs and sends you out.
Oh, let's
Sybil?
go find our friends.
Yeah, let's do it. We got
Oh.
so much information.
Wait, we should visit that sick person first,
Mm-hmm.
then find our friends.
Got it.
This might be a good place to put you all together because Barnaby mentioned Baris as well,
Yeah.
right? And this is a very small village. You can see each other walking to and fro. It's like, you're never that far from each other. Barnaby will have pointed out Baris's home, which is one of the houses in front of the mill. You're all together. Are you going to go to Baris's, or?
Yeah, I think so.
I share everything that happened in that blacksmith shop.
Yeah, sounds good.
Wait. So if they think they're eating the people, but they're not, what are they actually eating?
I just think they're eating the ashes, right? I think it's some kind of misguided attempt by Sister Rosalind to cure this thing. But like there's good religion and then there's bad religion. And I think that's Rosalind's kind of just like crazy bad religion. Like I don't think it's going to affect things one way or the other.
You have a different life than me and different life experiences. Just grabs, starts smuttering. Just grabs, mutters.
Obeha, are you going to knock on Baris's door?
Yeah, I think I'll do that. We've been sent by various people to come check on you. Is anyone in there? Are you all right? Push the
Bone
door
once if
open.
that's a no, and twice if that's a yes.
She's just moaning.
Yeah, let's push the door open and see what it's like in there.
Let's paint the scene. Looking around Baris's home, either looking or perhaps smelling. How do you know that Baris has not been herself in recent days?
The walls are covered in ash. She's been burning things and spreading the ash on the walls, drawing symbols and sigils that, well, Sybil doesn't recognize.
I think she's unraveling all of her clothes. Like, just like, oh, that's it. Like, and like rolling them up into balls. So, like, there's balls and like
Mm.
clothes in like various state of like well, not disrepair. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what she's doing.
Yeah, it smells like a root cellar in here, although it's above ground, but like with like rotten potatoes and turnips.
Anything to add, Doc?
Like maybe just like dishes in the sink.
Yeah, just general slovenly disrepair. When you're poking around and you can hear her wailing from a back room on the ground floor. And she seems to be aware of you because she's kind of calling out from the other side of the door. Oh, I can feel them. They're they're under my skin. They're crawling around in the hollow parts of my bones. They're in my mind. They're in my mind. I can tell that they've been in your mind too. It starts as a headache, and then it deteriorates from there, I'm afraid.
Oh, I shoot Obeha a look.
Yeah, I had a bad headache. It's a little bit better now, but I don't think there's any they in that, right? There's no
You
they,
have
it's
to
just
get
me in
out of
here.
here. You have to leave Winterbrook, or you're going to be like all the rest of them, all the rest of us. The sickness, it's not a sickness, it's an infestation. And I can feel it in every part of my body. I have to get to it. I have to extract them. I have to expose them to the light. She's still behind a door. You can't see her.
Hey, Beryl, how did this happen to you?
Reese. She says, "It is a blight, the blight of Winterbrook. It is, it, it comes and goes, but then it comes really, really bad and stays. They stay, and they creep and they crawl and they tickle and they flicker.
It's time to
Those,
push the bedroom door open.
and you see Berese, middle-aged woman, mousy brown hair with streaks of gray, quite naked, in the corner of her room, which smells of sick. She has been scratching at her skin and tearing. Well, you see more of her clothes unraveled and torn apart. She looks up at you specifically, Obeha. You might have a little worm in you, too. If you start to feel something on the tip of your tongue, if you feel something fuzzy stroking the roof of your mouth, that's just them trying to get in.
I have a one open slot, I think, on my backpack. It's not from my backpack. It's like I think it was like a magic item that we got or like a reward that we got.
What is it?
It's like an open slot on my backpack.
Oh, you just got to pick. I was just going to let you pick something for free from your
Yeah.
backpack and put it in your found equipment.
Oh, that's right. It has to be from the thingamajig, right? All right. I'm gonna think on that for a while. Sorry.
Okay, that's all right. What's everyone else doing?
I'm gonna ask her if there's anything we can do for her, either to help alleviate the pain or stop whatever's causing it, or enact some mercy on her if that's what she wants.
Make a hunt roll.
I think protection might work here too. Too light.
I'll take that. Yeah.
That's a 5. A token, but something terrible.
Take your token. She says, I do appreciate the offer, but I'm afraid they have managed to burrow into the soft part of my brain, and there they are nesting, even as we speak. I can feel their presence radiating out from the back of my head, expanding even now into all 4 corners of this room, rays of insufferable knowledge. You have to get out of Winterbrook, or you're going to end up just like me.
We're gonna cure you first, Beryl. Eris.
No, you're not.
Don't
You're not going to cure me.
worry about it. You're definitely gonna do it.
Do you
Hey.
wish to die?
Anybody here an alchemist? Is there an alchemist in the building? Wow. All right. I have a sleeping potion. I could pull out a sleeping potion. Here's my pitch. Tell me if this is like not something I can do. I want to take this sleeping potion and then maybe pull out something else, but maybe from one of your backpacks, and make a Rick's roll to mix it together and make essentially a dewormer. Is this a long shot?
It's a long shot. You can try it.
Anybody else have a thing that they want to do? I think we can. I really think we can concoct a cure.
If I had fantasy Tylenol, herbs and remedies, would I have more than just one dose?
Sure, you can have another dose. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll hand over a dose of that to Kaylin to try and mix something up. If you think it's gonna work.
Well, yeah. Thing is, am I the guy to do it? I definitely want to be, but does anybody have an idea?
Oh, I suppose I could try and mix something up.
I'm
I
good at
th-
rituals, so that might be a thing. But does anybody else have something that more qualifies them?
I think between some combination of skills and rituals, you can make this happen, but you have to find the right combination of skills and rituals, I think.
I got a skill in rituals. Science isn't a lot different than magic.
I have skills in plants, remedies, and injury.
I think that's a good start.
Oh, sorry.
I think that's a good start. I think that whatever's affecting her is clearly magical in nature based off of Obeha's experience, or at least psychic in nature, psionic even. Does either you have a ritual that might like help give some oomph to this remedy?
I have sleep, which might calm her, and I have compel, which might make her relax.
Oh,
Can you
yeah.
compel a placebo effect?
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Let's talk about goals here. I think this is interesting. I think the role is going to be Sybil's role with help from Kaylin if needed. You'll be helping in the fiction, but whether you add a die or not is if you need to, whether it's just based off how the role goes. What's the stake here? Like, what are we actually going to try to accomplish with this woman?
I want to hear from everybody else, but like I want to save her life, and then I want to work towards saving everybody's life in town.
I want
I
to
wanna
know what she knows. So she needs to be well enough to talk to us.
I think you can get her there, and I can help.
Are you also asking those of us who aren't involved in this?
Oh yeah, totally, yeah.
Oh, I'm asking if Jason is asking those
Oh,
of
I mean,
us.
I'm just curious. I'm mostly in conversation here with the die roller, which is Amanda, but I'm open
Cool.
to hearing everyone's ideas about what you're actually trying to accomplish here. You may not be able to save her. You just might not be able to, per the scenario, but you might be able to get, but you can still attempt it. And maybe there's just doesn't go as great as you hoped. But unless you're trying to do something other than save her.
Yeah, I think we have backup plans if she's not able to be saved, but not to help with that.
Yeah, indeed.
All right. So this is a risk.
It is a risk roll. Let's talk about your dice. You do have a relevant skill between remedies and plants. I'll take that. And now Devil's Bargains. Everyone gets to offer a bargain. Something that will happen no matter what. And if Amanda accepts it, you get an extra light die, but the condition is going to happen. My condition is no matter what, you communicate with the thing inside of her.
A really bad one would be no matter what it leaves. Oh no, that's it. If it leaves her, it enters one of us, and if it does not leave her, it spreads to one of us.
So no matter what, you contract it. Yeah.
Is this a Devil's Bargain? Is it the same thing? The kind of okay, got it.
Yeah, everyone can do it or everyone can make an offer to Amanda.
No matter what happens, sister what's her name thinks
Rosalind.
Sister Rosalind becomes more suspicious of us no matter what happens.
I don't have one. I think the Rosalind one is something along the lines of what I would have done.
You've got 3 offers. Either the thing will communicate with you, it will spread to one of you, or Sister Rosalind you'll be on her shit list.
Oh, I feel like we're going to be on her shit list anyway. So I think I'm going to go with, I want to communicate with this thing.
You've got 2 light dice, and I think I don't need a dark die yet, actually. But you can add one if you want to. So
Got 5.
the complication is going to be you will manage to get her well enough to return to lucidity. But the complication is the thing that is actually doing this to her is going to kill her.
Oof.
It won't be the sickness that takes her. It'll be something more direct.
Well, I could add a dark die and re-roll. Try and get a 6. I'm going to drive it like I stole it. Let's try it. Got another 5.
Another
Light.
5. At this point, Kaylin, you can add a help roll since there's a dark die now. And if you get, and all you can hope for is a 6. But if your help die equals, or if your help die is 4, your ruin will go up. So.
All right, here we go. 5.
It's 5. So I think 5 is because it's going to get. Although you can add another dark die and try again since dark is low, Amanda.
Not worth the risk.
I don't know. I still at my starting rune.
2 light, 2 dark.
I'll do 2 light, 2 dark.
Okay.
Then I'll stop.
6 light. There you go. Fortune favors the bold. You will save her completely. Let's talk about the process, though. Like, just give me a little bit of description, considering Kaylin's help as well. What does all this look like?
I think I probably get everybody to kind of chip in a little bit, like, Obeha, can you pass me that spoon over there? And Akale, you're good at, patterns and recognizing things. I need you to cut these things into exactly the right sizes of pieces. They have to be perfect. And just sort of concocting everything, getting Kaylin to grind up some stuff in a mortar and pestle, mixing together what looks like a really disgusting smoothie.
Kaylin, how does the ritual, how do your rituals impact the procedure?
I I'm just doing a lot of chanting and stuff. I guess like I've always heard about healing, stuff like that. I never practiced it. I never tried to learn these spells. So I'm kind of like I'm kind of experimenting on the fly, messing with the magical weave and all that.
You can tell that there's a violent reaction going on inside of Maurice. Whatever is doing this to her is in direct conflict with your remedy, and it is trying to keep hold of her. She's laying on her bed, and at one point she just sits straight up and looks at you, Sybil, and she says, I will have my revenge on this town for what they did to me. And then she just flails around a bit, arches her back, vomits quite a lot, covered in sweat, thrashes about, and eventually settles. Then she kind of breathes. And at this point, a man has come to the house. He introduces himself as Rollet Harris. He works at the mill. And he says, Is she okay?
I mean, honestly, I didn't expect that to work, but somehow it did. I think so.
He says, That's great. That's splendid. That's really wonderful. We should probably let her rest. But thank you. Thank you. I think this is the first time everyone or anyone has ever been brought back from the brink of the sickness.
It was all she mixed stuff together and she made it work.
No, don't say that. I didn't think it was gonna work.
Yeah,
I'm surprised it
life.
did.
She's good. This Rollet Harris fellow will kind of talk to you just outside of her room and say, I I don't know what's doing this to the town. I don't know what's causing this to happen. But you should know that there are others in town who are not going to be so lucky. I don't think you can save everyone with your remedy.
This
Lindsay
thing.
Smith thinks she can craft a weapon to destroy whatever it is. But I couldn't say.
No, she's right. That's what we're gonna do. We're on that as well. I would like to share the remedy with him, like the ingredients. Tell him to like share this with as many people prominently in town as possible.
Akale, you see your friend's sister Rosaline coming across the yard with walking with arm swinging purpose. And she says, What's going on in there? What have you done?
I've mostly stood and watched.
Right. That's right. You're not here to interfere with our religious practices. You're very considerate in that way. I remember that about you. What are you all doing in Baris's house? What have you done?
They cured her.
Yeah.
They cured her?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
No. Yes. Yes. I think so.
Did you say the proper invocations to the sisters when you were doing this treatment?
Yep.
Yeah.
She looks at you, Akale.
I wouldn't know. Like I said, I mostly just watched.
Well, it doesn't change anything. Personally, I believe if Baris really is well, it is a blessing from Saint Fatima. It means what Brother Benedict and I are doing is working. You are merely the vessels for Saint Fatima's will. That's all.
It seems that Saint or Fatima has chosen us to work through, since your remedies haven't worked to this point.
She has answered my prayers by sending you here to Winterbrook.
Agreed. So you should listen to us.
Does the carpenter stay in regular conversation with his hammer? I think not. Now,
Oh, I didn't realize you were a god.
she says, you should know, heretic, that as part of my remit, I should probably be taking efforts to smite you, but I'm not, because you have shown yourself to be useful to our cause here in Winterbrook. And she snatches from Rollet the recipe. She says, give me that. And she's looking at it. She says, very skeptically. She pockets it. Well, I'm afraid you were too late for poor Shad. And Rollet says, no, not Shad. Oh yes, Shad. Taken by the sickness. He was the town undertaker. Bit ironic, don't you think? I just came to inform you, Rollet, that we are going to magnify, step up our rights in order to save the town. We might as well go full force. And the four of you, instruments of Saint Fatima's will, you're welcome to join us if you want.
This Shad person, have you buried him?
Oh, there will be no burial.
Oh, let me rephrase. Have you burned him yet?
There will be a burning, as Saint Fatima requires,
right.
But we will not be burning him in the bonfire. No. I have had a new insight. I have seen a tantalizing golden thread that, when followed, will lead us out of this dark wilderness we find ourselves in at the moment. Said thread shall be unspooling this evening. You're welcome to join us, of course, so long as you are strong in the faith and not a heretic.
Is it cannibalism?
I don't like that word.
Is it a word for cannibalism that you enjoy?
I don't like your attitude, young man. I can tell from your manner of speech and dress that you have had a fine upbringing. And so you should know that your responsibility is to defer to the wisdom of the priesthood.
I can't sleep on Sister Rosalind.
Say that again, Kaelin. You broke up a little bit.
I would like to cast sleep on Sister Rosalind?
Yeah. You can. She'll kind of sit down and say, now, if you don't mind, I'm feeling a little in need of rest before the events of the evening.
There's a spare cot inside if you would prefer.
Wouldn't sleep in that one.
I need to check on Baris anyway. Thank you, sir. And she stumbles into the house. How does your sleep ritual look when you're casting it surreptitiously?
I just kind of look at somebody and look really sad. I didn't pick it. It's just what kind of happens.
I see. She gets drowsy and goes into Baris's house.
Who's the gentleman that joined us who I gave
Rollet.
yeah,
Rollet
Rollet.
Harris. He's the vulgar. He works at the mill.
Hey, Rollet, can you do me a super solid and just kind of like can you leave and then not mention that any of this happened? And then I promise if you do that, your town will be better for it, and you have my word as a count.
He's like, oh, you're a count.
Yeah, but that's not important. Like it's not. The title is it means a lot to my family. So if I give you my word, I'm being super cool about it. I'll give you a pinky promise too if you want it.
Is this a command from a member
No.
of the noble classes?
Nah, bro, I'm just asking for a favor because I want to help this town, and you know, I need you to never speak about what happened here today. And I think if you do that, everything's gonna be cool, man. We're gonna cure this town. We're gonna find the rot beneath Winterbrook, and everybody's gonna be alive.
He nods and goes back to the mill.
Thanks, Rollet. I turn to the others and say, guys, I don't want to be this guy, but I think we're gonna kill Sister Rosalind and bury her in the backyard and never speak of it again. Is that like is that what we're gonna do? I'm gonna do it. Are you guys? You know what? Don't answer me. I'm gonna do it. And I roll up my sleeves, and he says, if you guys want to look the other way, go ahead. And I get to work.
That is an ambitious young man.
You're sorry. Sorry.
Yes. Oh, hey,
You're-
Akle.
No, this is literally Devin.
Oh,
So
yeah. So,
she's fallen asleep on the ground, and you're just like,
Well, no, she went in
"I'm
the
gonna
house.
kill her."
She went in the
Oh,
house,
in the
and
house.
she's
Okay.
Yeah, she's
Less
sleeping in the house.
bad. But like, she's fallen asleep, and you're just like, "Well, guess I'm gonna kill her then, huh?" And
We don't know if she's asleep. She was drowsy.
Right.
I'll check in on her to see if she's sleeping.
Personally, I don't. Akale personally doesn't have a problem. She would like to step on that woman until she slowly suffocates, because she seems like a terrible person. But I don't. So I think she'll say, Count, you might be used to just doing things the way that you see fit. And I don't want you to not kill this woman.
Thank you,
but
Akle.
I would not be a good companion if I said that will probably get you in more trouble.
I know.
In more trouble.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was just
Yeah, you guys have plausible deniability. Like, if you guys want to leave, like, I got this.
Barnaby
oh no,
Wilcox.
we
Barnaby
don't in
Wilcox
fact
is strolling over at this
Yeah.
point.
we also
shit.
don't have plausible deniability because we were all in this house and she came to this house and then died in it.
You might be right. I'm not 100% sure I know what that means. And I wave to Barnaby.
He says, "What's all the commotion over here? What's going on? I
Oh,
saw
sir.
Sister Rosaline with her color up. That's usually a bad sign."
We've cured
Yeah.
Sister Rosaline wants us to go examine the body of the person who just died. She's not feeling very well, but she asked us to go take a look at it since we are instruments of Saint Fatima.
She did
Oh.
say that.
Well, Saint
one of her
Fatima
moves.
has a practical, a whole workbench of instruments in this town
Also, Sybil found a cure.
for the sickness.
Why do you keep saying that? I don't know if I can replicate it.
We're gonna try to replicate it.
I
Saint
found a
Fa-
cure once.
Sister Rosaline comes out of Barise's house.
Son of a bitch.
She says, "Well, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but I'm afraid your remedy didn't work out. The poor dear, she went fast."
Do I get the feeling that Rosalind killed her?
There will be 2 burnings tonight. But don't worry. She pats you on the shoulder, Sybil. I'm sure whatever you attempted was very, very good attempt. I'm sure Saint Fatima looks down upon you with admiration and gentle bemusement. Barnaby is like, yes.
Barnaby, after she wanders off, she just murdered that woman.
Yeah,
That's
I think
quite
she
an
just-
accusation.
She just murdered a defenseless woman
That's
right under our noses.
You can't just make an accusation like that without
Oh, who
proof.
can? Can it be me? She just murdered that defenseless woman.
He's like,
What if I
what
do it?"
proof do you have of such?
I
She
would
was-
like to go back into the house and look at the body.
Indeed.
That she was alive when she went in the house and dead when she left. And she was
Barnaby
well.
will stop you. He'll say, I think we've had enough of your inquiries here for today. I heard what you talked with little Lindsay Smith about, and I don't think you should be encouraging her fanatical delusions. And I certainly don't think you should be giving people false hope. Now, if you will retire to your rooms at the Tower Tavern, I think that would be best for the entire village. I have some books. If you need to pass the time, you're welcome to borrow any of them you wish.
Are there particular books that you are recommending? And she gives him a very knowing look.
I have a very fine history of the town of Winterbrook. Perhaps you could become acclimated with this place which you are so committed to helping.
I see.
Quick out of character question. Did everybody hear when Baris was channeling the being? Did everybody hear the
Everyone
bit
heard
about
that, yeah,
revenge? Okay,
yeah.
cool.
And he's dispersing your little congregation here.
Well, please bring that history to the hotel, whatever, the inn.
He says, I shall drop it by.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
And I am going to book it because I want to cut open that other dead person's head and see if there are worms in it.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, they are Shad. You can go to Shad's house, certainly. And when you arrive, Brother Benedict is there. They have her body on a cart. Brother Benedict, the old priest. He says, "Oh, hello again."
Hello. I'm here to help.
Well, that's well, we've already loaded him up onto his own cart that he used for taking bodies to the cemetery, if you can imagine. The irony. But we're not going to the cemetery with this one, are we?
No. We are going to a second location.
Yes. Well, we are, well, Sister Rosaline thinks that she's had a keen insight, and we are going to burn this body, but instead of, well, We're going to actually inhale the body.
That's certainly an interesting way of going about it. I'm going to try and I don't. No, this is the only person in this town I don't want to deceive. Literally, the only person in this town I don't want to deceive is this person. So I'm just going to say straight up, the head of your church is a monster, and I think she's going to kill a lot more people than she's going to save, and I would like to examine this body. You seem to have not gone completely insane, so I've come to you and I'm honest with you. But if I'm incorrect and you are completely insane, I suppose I'll have to do things a different way.
He says, Sister Rosaline means well.
She doesn't.
Well, I think this is a hard situation. She's trying to do the best she can. Do I agree with her methods? No. Do I think that we should be inhaling the bodies? No, of course not. That's absurd. But it seems to make everyone feel better about the situation. That has to count for something, right?
No.
You're very dogmatic.
Oh, no, it doesn't. If I was feeling badly and you asked me what you could do to make myself feel better, and I said kill every young girl child in the village, that would make me feel a lot better. You should probably do that. That's got to be worth something, right?
I don't know where this is going, he says.
It's going to the place where you say, yes, I'll let you examine the body, Accolade. That's what
I don't care if you examine the body. Just help me get it.
He pulls the sheet off.
He's like, not here, not here. Help me take it to where we're going to do the ceremony.
Perhaps a third location on the way to the ceremony.
We are going to the ceremony. We have a couple of hours before we're all supposed to gather. You have plenty of time to examine the body as you wish. And he causes the donkeys to get going. And he takes you to a house on the other side of the village. And yeah, you're gonna unload the body and take it down to the basement where they are going to light it on fire and inhale the smoke.
Cool. Before they do that, I would like to break her head open.
Absolutely. Oh, Shad. What's everybody else doing right now?
Kaylin, you didn't seem to be averse to getting your hands dirty before. I think I would like to encourage Kaylin to try the same thing with Baris. And if there is anything inside her head, maybe bring it to the blacksmith to see if that might be what she's looking for.
I think Sybil's better at this kind of thing than I am, but I'll definitely help. Cut open this head, see if there's any worms in there.
Boys gotta start somewhere. Yeah.
Shucks, you know what? It looks like we're gonna have to kill Barnaby Wilcox too, right? Like, seems like he's a problem as well.
One thing at a time.
Okay, I go and I chop off the head. I do it as surgically as possible. For a guy who went to college but did not study this.
You can make a hunt roll as you are investigating Baris's body.
Okay, here we go. I'm guessing 1 dice.
Unless you have a skill or something that will help you here.
Unusual amount of grace with a knife, maybe.
I mean, just the fact that you're using your weapon is enough to get the second die because it counts as equipment. So there
you go. Highest dice is a 4.
Take your token.
Also, just because I don't want to repeat the missed hunt roll of the past, I can cash these in for gold, right? At any time.
You can cash in the tokens whenever you want for treasure. Yeah.
I do that so that I don't lose my money again. And yes.
How many are you cashing in?
I have 2 now.
Okay.
So I will update that. I'll cash them both in simultaneously, which brings me up to 3 gold. Plus, I got a ledger that I'm hoping gets me something.
If you cash them in, you will basically find all of Barissa's savings underneath her bed. While
Oh,
you
yeah, the ethics. I definitely do it, but I feel bad. I put it in my back pocket.
It's a collection of silver coins and semi-precious stones that she's collected over the years, worth however much you spent in tokens.
Once I get that Social Security fund running, I'm going to pay her back. I am keeping a note of how much I owe her descendants.
Indeed. You encounter something terrible. Yeah, she was definitely throttled to death based off the wounds on her neck.
Is there any way I can prove that? Like, I guess I just tell the coroner when I see him.
I don't think there's any such thing in the town of Winterbrook. But and the only
whoever.
law enforcement wanted you to go away, but nevertheless, you can go back into Breeze's house, do all this without them noticing you. And you will discover that she was clearly strangled to death. Are you going to proceed with cutting her open to see if there are worms in her brain?
Yes, absolutely.
Grisly business will take a while.
I assume Obeya is helping me.
I'm keeping watch outside.
Oh,
Indeed.
okay.
There's nothing unusual in her brain.
Shit. Oh, because we cured it.
I don't know, but there's nothing unusual in her brain.
I duck out real quick to tell Obeya that.
Indeed.
We should take her to the fields and give her a proper burial.
Yeah.
I think while all of this is going on, I do actually go back to the inn. I want to talk to my new best friend On, because right now I think I want to hear from another outsider what their perspective is on all of this.
I also like that guy. He's a cool guy.
Sybil, you'll find On at the tavern while Beha and Kaylin are doing their work, while Akale is doing her work with Shad. You can go talk to On.
I'm gonna buy him a drink.
He looks up at you with his soft, slimy flesh, and he says, "Come to make amends, have you?"
Well, I feel like it's only fair. The two of us stuck here in this town for God knows how long.
It is well met. It is well met.
I'm sure you forgive me for going through your things. You probably would have, well, run me through if you didn't.
Indeed. How was your walk about the village today?
Well, to be honest, not great. May I ask you, how long have you been here in Winterbrook? Strange town.
Like you, I got here just before the pass closed up. But I'm just passing through. I have no intention of ingratiating myself or otherwise becoming a part of this community.
I can definitely see why you would want to do that. That's makes a lot of sense right now. It's a strange place. What have you noticed around this place? These people are, well, they're weird, aren't they? I mean, we know that all these small towns are weird, but...
And here I'll point out that you all have accomplished the second day set goal already. You know that there's a sickness that's causing people, that's killing them eventually, and then Rosaline was previously burning up the bodies and putting it in stew as a sort of like vaccine against the sickness, and now she's ramping up her efforts to a new methodology. On says, the thing about people in little communities like this is they are impressively, awesomely stupid.
Yes,
think-
well,
I think they are people beset by something terrible, and they don't know how to go about rectifying the situation except with prayers to the sisters, in the hopes that they will be rescued by divine intervention, and they'll do whatever their little holy men and women tell them, to find that egress.
it does seem to be the standard way of things, doesn't it?
Ooh,
You know, in
does
my
it does.
experience, these small towns frequently, when they are beset by horrible things like this, well, sometimes they have done something to anger some being, or, the curse, if it is a curse, is because some sort of revenge. Have you heard anything about like that about here in Winterbrook?
Make the hunt roll.
The only real skill I think I have right now is perception, and I don't know if it really
I don't know if that
applies.
really applies here. Yeah. A 4. Take your token. He says, do you consider yourself a student of history, Sybil?
Definitely not.
Well, if you were, and you were so inclined to look, you would learn that the people of Winterbrook have made some very, very deleterious decisions in their past. Deleterious decisions specifically related well, I should not tell you about him, should I?
Indeed, you should. I'm very invested in this conversation.
Indeed, I should not. But he's calling. He's calling to us. Those
From
of us
below
who are
the
just,
town, I assume.
those of us who are just passing through.
He's calling to you.
He leans back and he smiles his oily smile and says, you should probably just hole up for the winter and wait for the spring to come and stop poking into places that should not be poked.
Well, poking into places that should not be poked is sort of what I do.
Akale, you have the body down in the basement of someone's home. Benedict is going through a lot of trouble to examine this basement. He has a lantern and he's checking every corner, touching the walls, investigating cracks. And the body is there, laid on a kind of little makeshift pyre they've set up down in the basement. What are you doing?
I am preparing my tools. I'm getting, I'll ask, is there a hammer around? And such. I'll ask him what he's looking for as I kind of get ready. But yeah, I also have something to capture horrifying monster bugs in if I need to.
Well, let's take it one step at a time. You can ask him what he's doing when he's looking around the room.
Yeah.
And he'll say, well, Just making sure that we have a good seal so the smoke doesn't escape.
Mhm.
How about you? Have you figured out what you need to figure out? Have you examined the body sufficiently closely?
Oh, no, not at all. And I'll just take a hammer and my knife and I'll just crank into her head.
You can split her open. I'm not going to even give you the hunt roll because there's nothing to find. It's just brain matter.
All right then. Can I be deceitful and pretend to be looking at the body, but I'm in fact examining what he's doing?
Sure. You can make a hunt roll then.
Excellent. I'm so good at rolling dice on dice rollers. I never ever roll badly. Return. Come on. My name's Devin. Hunt roll. I assume 1 light? 2 lights?
It's 1 light for just making the observation, unless you, as you've described it, looking at your skills, maybe deception if you think he's being deceitful.
I think he is.
Okay, go ahead.
And I'm definitely being deceitful. Oh yes, I'm very lost in thought on this body.
Yeah. 4. Like
Get
the
a
dining room
token.
loves 4s today. Take your token,
All right.
and you encounter something terrible. The terrible thing you encounter is you see Brother Benedict in one corner, carefully looking. He's being very careful about something. He's going from corner to corner. You're watching him, and he's looking at the walls, but he's doing it's almost like for your benefit. He's like checking out the walls, checking the seal,
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes into one corner and he drops the lantern, and the light in the lantern goes out, leaving just a single shaft of light coming from up above, from the doorway up above. You also hear, as soon as immediately after he drops the lantern, you hear and then you hear shuffling footsteps coming toward you and poor Shad in the dark. What do you do?
Give me 1 second to think. Can I see? Like you said, there's a shaft of light. Do I see like Barnaby on the floor? No, not Barnaby. That's the
Benedict.
Benedict. Yes. Do I see Benedict on the floor and another form walking towards me? Do I see nothing?
Benedict is the one who's stumbling toward you.
Oh, okay.
He stumbles into the light. His head has been cleaved off.
Oh boy.
And he takes his last steps, falls forward, his blood and guts spilling out of the hole where his head used to be. And we'll take a quick 5-minute break. Akale, you are immediately being psychically assaulted by whatever is in the corner of the room. You are going to have to resist this in some way. That is a risk roll. Everyone gets to say what they think could go wrong here if you fail.
Head could just scanners explode.
That would be a pretty dire outcome.
Something that could happen.
I like it. I think it
or,
could
or at
be.
least bleeding and whatever out the eyes.
Yeah, I think your brains. Yeah, I like the leaking brain. I think that's pretty good.
I would like to add an even worse than that addendum to it. It's even worse than that. It's not going to completely debilitate you, but it will cause you to forget your mother's name.
Oh, that's interesting. That could be a good devil's bargain, actually. Any other thoughts on what could go wrong here? We're looking at something sentimental or something explosive or grotesque, Agale. Do you have a skill or a piece of equipment that will help you resist this psychic assault?
Nope.
Very well. Anything, nothing from your gear that you can work into a description? I mean, you can be creative here.
Do you still have something in the bottle? You do.
Yeah, but it's a psychic assault. I'm not gonna let an actual monster out to fight a psychic wave.
You have no light dice currently. Let's talk about devil's bargains. Everybody gets to make an offer.
No matter what happens, whatever is assaulting you is able to continue to speak with you through your make a connection.
No matter what happens, your cult is involved.
This is the second time we've had to go at this. I like it though.
I was going to say,
I'm going to go with the mother's name thing.
Ah, damn it.
And
so like the one thing that my character's goal is, I can no longer do.
That's if you fail.
You don't have to accept the bargain. Yeah, I mean, this is only if you accept the bargain. Do you have a bargain, Dog?
No, not as good as that one. I'm working on it though. I think I'm getting it down. I'll have one next time.
You've got 3 offers on the table. You can either make contact with, or no, yeah, make contact with the thing. Someone said that, right? Your cult's involved somehow, or you forget your mother's name.
I mean,
you can reject them all too. You don't have to take any of them.
I definitely like the cult being involved too, just because it's like I've literally gone as far away to a random place as I possibly could, and it's still here.
You have 1 light die. A dark die is going to be in play as well because your mind is literally being risked right now. Go ahead and roll 1 light, 1 dark. That is a 4 dark. Your current ruin is 3, so your ruin is going up. You are going to take the condition. You're going to take the condition migraine, which is from just the wave, but you will otherwise not suffer any other terrible effects. In fact, you will resist your brain leaking out of your head. What does this look like? Give us a scene.
So oh yeah. I think so he stumbles over and falls over, and there's that, like, I can hear it almost like a little a hissing noise coming into my brain. Like that's the if we're going to use migraine, that's the migraine trigger. That's the thing that's letting me know a migraine is going to come on. So I'm just like, and I think to tie into the cult, like subconsciously, I think my hand goes into the pouch and grabs the other amulet of protection that I had, not the one around my neck, but the one in the bag. And I think just like that's what's going to keep her okay. I was like, what I would love to do is, like, if it was like a thing is attacking you, I was going to be like, cool, I punch a hole in the weakest part of this thing and it collapses as I run up the stairs. But that's not how that happens.
I think we need to learn a little bit more about this cult at this point. So, what is the nature of the cult? What do they believe in? What is their whole deal?
So the cult is I think the cult is trying to bring about not the end of the world, it's not like a doomsday cult in the sense that everyone will die, but it's more like a I'll be in charge. The thing that's told me about this says I'm going to be in charge, and that's the stepfather guy.
So you're an escaped cultist. So remind us why you escaped the cult.
Because I was going to be sacrificed.
Oh, right. But are you still faithful though? Do you still believe? It sounds like you still
and
believe.
That's the thing. I think that I think I'm in that I escaped from a cult, but the programming is still kind of in my head. Like I was raised to believe this so much that like when she's like, I have religious things, it's just like, do I really? Do I still believe that I can't eat that if I'm not in the cult? But it doesn't feel right to me. So I think she's in deconstruction mode. So she's very susceptible to old ways still.
Very well then. You will hear a voice in your head being transmitted through whatever's in the corner of the room. And it says, "Come find me to fulfill your destiny." And you will hear something crawling away in the basement. Slithering away.
Can I would like to go grab the lantern and shine a light in that area to find, I'm sure, a perfectly smooth stone wall and no cracks.
There's a hole. There's a
tunnel. There is.
There's a hole. Whatever it is crawled into this tunnel and left.
Good to know. I'm going to go find my companions.
Companions, you are all being gathered. Well, everybody in town is being gathered by Sister Rosaline and Barnaby Wilcox for purposes of the evening's, where we're speeding it up a little bit, the late afternoon's ritual. Where's everybody right now?
Right before they gather us up, I would like to sneak into somebody else's room in the tavern and trade some hunt tokens. I would like to trade 1 hunt token for a gold.
Okay, I'll give you a treasure. You find... let me pull up Trophy Loom real quick. A treasure for you. Just spending 1 token?
Yes.
Okay.
Hold on to the other ones in case I need them for something.
Sure. You find a set of 7 bells crafted from salvaged copper, hammered and tuned to resonate in an uncanny harmony. It's worth 1 gold, but it's also magical. I won't say exactly what it does, but you'll know instinctively it's magic.
What is our current set goal?
You don't have one right now.
Oh, okay, great, awesome. I'm really interested in checking out Barnaby's library.
Okay, there's no time for that yet.
Yeah,
you're all being gathered. Barnaby, Sister Rosaline. They can't find Benedict. They don't know where the hell he's at. Everyone's kind of going out. Howard Doubleby even manages to drag himself out of bed. Sister Rosaline says, "Things are reaching a fevered pitch, I'm afraid, brothers and sisters. We must take the next step in these stations that Saint Fatima has laid before us. Please follow me." And here the crowd will pass you, Akale, because you're coming from where they're going to. Accolade, first of all, is everybody following her?
Absolutely not.
I'm gonna follow her. I want to see what's gonna happen and
Okay.
maybe stop it. I don't know.
Caitlin, are you going?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna follow. Yeah.
Sister Rosaline on the way sees you, Accolade, and she says, "You're welcome to join us, heretic. Perhaps you will see the error of your ways by participating in our ceremony." You're muted.
Sorry. Oh, you're going to the basement to burn these bodies?
Yes, we are going to inhale the smoke,
Oh,
as Saint Fatima has commanded we should do.
right. Yeah, absolutely. There are 2 dead bodies in that basement and a hole in the wall that a creature has crawled into. So just in case you didn't want to be eaten by some kind of horrible creature, or perhaps have your head cut off, which is what happens to Brother Oldman. You can do.
Stay your pagan tongue. We have no need of your words anymore.
Okay. Don't say I didn't warn you.
And the procession continues on.
And I think she just stands and like looks at her 3 partners, or like at least at Sybil who came along.
Guys, I know I pitched this before. Should we murder her? Although now I think it has to be kind of a more public murder. Do you think we should do that?
I kind of feel like that's going to take care of itself.
Yeah, sure. But she might kill a lot of people. She might bring a lot of people down with her, is what I'm worried about.
I mean, these are already dead people in her defense.
Nah, I'm worried about the crowd. There is a procession of like living people, like her followers, right? Following.
Yeah, well, it's everybody in the village. Yeah, it's only like a couple dozen people.
What do you guys think? You think we should?
I think public execution of a religious official in the town might get us a bad reputation.
Cool. You see, this is why I talk to you first before I act. What should we do now?
Let's just. I think we need to get underground. And maybe we need a distraction.
There is
Maybe
whatever was in the basement of the inn, and if it is distracted by the goings on with the burning, maybe that place will be available for, or more safe.
She stops you all at the top of the stairs in the house, and she said, probably responding to what Akale said, and she says, "If everyone could please just stay here for a moment while I prepare the ritual space." And then she goes down into the basement.
Oh, I wait and see if I can hear a scream or like the sound of somebody's head getting cut off.
There's no particular noise, though it does sound like she's trying to lift something.
I would like to follow her. I know she said to stay here, but I don't care.
If you go down there, she's like pushing Benedict's body into the corner, and she'll say, "What happened to him?"
I already told you, but you told me to still my heretic tongue.
We don't have time for this. I'm going to move his body now because I don't want to cause any undue duress amongst the people of Winterbrook. Here, help me.
No.
She drags it.
And in fact, I'll go up, and I will go up, and I will tell the townsfolk, she's trying to hide a body so you won't be scared. How scared are you now?
Barnaby comes downstairs and he says, "You cannot interfere with Sister Rosaline's work."
I'm not. She asked me to do something, but I didn't.
He pushes past you.
Barnaby, I think. Am I there? Yeah, right.
Sure. Yeah.
Barnaby, I think Sister Rosalind is kind of going off the deep end here. I think she's insane and she's not like making good advice. I think we have to remove her from office. Is there a way to do that, or is there a way to file a formal complaint?
You wish to?
Yeah, I mean she's hiding a body right now. If you go down there, she'll be hiding a body.
Barnaby looks very, very distressed, and he kind of like takes in a deep breath, and he says, "I think everyone should go back home now."
I thumb that up. I turn to the crowd and I do double thumbs up.
Everyone's leaving. Barnaby stays. You all can stay if you want, and he goes down to talk to Sister Rosaline. What are you all doing?
Before he leaves, can I just say, Barnaby, I think it should be you, buddy. I think you should be leading the town from now on.
He
Just,
says, thank you for your input, young count. And he goes downstairs.
I would like to
I'll go
fill
back
the
down.
basement with water.
You're gonna flood the basement.
Yes, I would like
Well,
to
there's
flood the
there's a
basement.
tunnel in the basement, so it's just the water's just gonna go into the tunnel.
Can I, because I can direct the water, I think. Hold on, let me see what my fountain ritual is. A forceful spring of water bursts forth from a location you touch. So I'd have to try to think of how I can get Benedict's body to block the hole in the tunnel so that it can flood.
Sister Rosaline, while you're all debating this, she's starting the pyre. She says, we shall have smoke, because that is what Saint Fatima commands. You all are welcome to join me or not. Barnaby, you can join me or not. We have to take these measures in order to save Winterbrook. We must have the smoke. We must bring it into our bodies. That is what she requires of us. We shall do it, and there we shall receive her keen divine insights into this problem. She has started the fire. Shad is burning.
I would like to use my water fountain spell on the fire, but I want to give Count Kalen a look and then like a stabbing motion because I know that once the fire starts, it's going to cause this place to be real smoky. Or once the water gets on the fire, it'll be steamy and smoky.
I mimic the stabbing motion, and then I point to the person I think you want me to stab.
I like jump my chin at the sister, like, yeah.
Okay.
Who've been trying to stab this whole time?
I look relieved.
Saint who spilled her blood for me, as the smoke rises up.
I would like to do my ritual. I want to touch the pyre. Might burn myself.
And the stabbing thing, do I get the idea that this is imminent? Like, do it now?
Glowing ember, reverie, we seek your light upon our brows. Lead us from the darkness now. As the smoke goes up, you can just strike her dead. She's not...
I strike her dead. And then I look to Sybil for approval. Yeah, all right, sweet. Then I apologize to anybody who saw that looks shocked.
Barnaby is the only other person down there.
Sorry, buddy.
When you strike her dead, maybe she falls into the fire herself. And Barnaby says, well, it seems, young Count, that you have taken the responsibility for Winterbrook into your own hands.
Yeah, I guess, it's I was born for this kind of thing, I guess.
He says, well, and he shines his, well, actually, you don't have to, because the light of the fire, he just points to the tunnel and
well,
says,
my ritual would have put the fire out, right? The water?
Oh, I just was letting Caitlin just kill her and not even getting to that point. He points to the tunnel and says, that is where your fate lies. And we will end the session right there. Let's do stars and wishes.
Lots of stars. This was a very action-packed session. I had a lot of fun with it. It was just chaos, really, for a lot of it. I had no idea really where any of it was going to go. Some bits that I really liked. I like the character On a lot. He's very oily and gross, and I want to know what his deal is. He's very mysterious, and I want to be his best friend now, so I can find out about him. I really liked when Count Kalen tucked the sick guy into bed. It was just such a fun little moment, and it was so unnecessary but so very Count Kalen. And then that like journey he took from tucking this sick guy into bed to wanting to do all these murders was just a real arc, a real character arc throughout this session. I really liked Akale and the sister and their discussion in the temple. That was like, someone's gonna die here. This is very tense, and I liked that a lot. And with the Obeha, you're migrating, that whole situation with dealing with the thing underground. I really want to see, what comes of that. I guess that's a wish, to see what happens when we go underground, how you're going to react to all of that. It's gonna be really interesting. Another wish is I kind of want the golden haired guy to come back suddenly somehow and just cause problems for even more chaos.
That's right. He
Um,
exists as a voice in Abeja's head, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see how that's going to play into all that other stuff that's happening with Obeja. Obeja, you're like our punching bag right now
I
for
know.
mystical things. Yeah, so I also really liked the mention, Jason, that you did about the next step in the stations. That was just a really good reference. Yeah.
I'll go next. Yeah, so many good things. Like, yeah, action packed, but not like action, just like packed with so many amazing moments. Kaylin just being just like a direct, I think is the way to put it. Like, this is what we gotta do. We're gonna do it. Like, wow, okay, yeah. Like, get it, kid. And Accolade sticking by your guns with the crazy religious lady. Again, I'm cheering for you there. And Sybil want to be friends with all the gross people, steal all the things, and actually curing the disease for a moment was very, very nice to watch. As always, like, all the descriptions and characterizations and everything were super fun. I feel like although it's a small area, it feels like it's very dense and rich. There's a lot of great stuff to explore and deal with there. And I really like, there's like, I know we've played games for a long time and there's a lot of tropes and stuff, and there's so many things here. I was like, okay, this is the bad thing. Oh no, this is the bad thing. Oh no, this is the bad thing now. Just like so many great things bubbling up, and still don't know exactly what the deal is. So definite wishes to just dig deeper into it and see what kind of trouble Kalen's got himself into. I really love the mention of illicit cults or unlicensed cults. Nice. And yeah, Golden Boy would be fun to play with again. And yeah, otherwise just wishing to see how it all shakes out.
Yeah, I'll go next. We have like one more session, and I think I'm gonna start with my wishes. I think it'll be interesting to see, because I have a feeling that Akale is, because of what happened in Akale's last scene, I have a feeling that Akale is now actually probably going to be in opposition to what you're all going to try to do, right? I think that whatever communicated with Akale is probably the thing is the rot that you need to clear out, right? And so that's I think that'll be interesting to see how if it plays out that way. And if it does, how does it play out? As far as stars go, I really enjoyed the kind of like Mark said, there's like a density to it, which is really interesting. There's not a lot of place to explore, or even there's really not even that many people, but there's enough going on to make it interesting. And I think the way that, like, I think it's fun to see how you all react to these characters that like are kind of interesting characters, because the NPCs, because they, in some sense, I think they're doing what they think is the right thing to do, but they know that what they're doing is maybe the wrong thing to do, and so they're not super forthcoming about what they're doing, out of either embarrassment or feeling like they're going to be held accountable in some way. But nevertheless, I don't think any of the characters, with the possible exception of Sister Rosaline, feel like they are the bad guys in the story, right? And so I think that's really an interesting dynamic. Yeah, I think it's a really interesting dynamic. Yeah, so I just kind of enjoyed that whole dynamic. I think it's an interesting thing about this module, and I think the way you're all interacting with it is pretty cool. I'm curious what On's deal is. Why is he actually in town? There's a strong hint that he's there for some actual purpose. He's not just passing through. And yeah. And I just thought everybody did a great job with their characterizations and kind of showing who their character is and kind of how they're reacting to this stuff. And yeah, it's been very interesting, fun.
You want to go next, Sakala?
Sure. I won't. I feel like when I'm doing stars and wishes, if I don't mention every single person, I've done a bad job of doing stars. But like, that's just too many. That's too much talking from me. So I'll just point out one wish and one star. I think Devin understands Camp Kalen a little bit better now, where it's just like, we're gonna do the right thing, and that thing is murdering someone, right? Right, everybody? That's the right thing, right? Like, I'm like, oh, all of a sudden I understand you as a character a lot better. I don't know if that makes Akale like Kalen anymore, but I think she's pitying him a little bit, maybe. Yeah, like I really liked all of
I think it's
moments.
very like, I don't know. There's a lot of like, I read a lot of like sociopathy into Kalen, actually. Like it's like naivete dress, like disguising kind of a fundamentally disturbed character.
Well, and yeah, like I think that's just like he's and you can tell me if I'm wrong, dog. But like I think it's just like, oh, I'm so sheltered and I get to do whatever I want whenever I want. So I haven't really developed a whole lot of empathy, but also it's really important to me that everyone sees me as being the good guy. I'm supposed to be the good guy, right? Like, it's just like, oh, you're so broken. And I don't think I got the full extent of how broken Kalen was until this game. So kudos for that.
Yeah, I would say yeah, that'll be fun to ask questions about that, I think, in the last game. Yeah, maybe when the last game's over, I'll tell you what I was going for. And but I love the guessing. I love how I love the theories.
And my wish is that Obeah throws a spear through like a monster. Like, that is my wish. Like, I know this is not a huge like action adventure. This is an explory thing, but he's a retired whaler with a missing eye, and he's got at least one, if not two, voices in his head. I want to see Obeah like lose his mind and just like, I'm murdering everything, because I think that would be very fun. But again, that's a wish. You don't have to do
it. I got a couple. I really liked Kayla's idea to just go outside and just tell everybody what Sister Rosalind was doing. That's a very underrated play that we should have done a long time ago, probably in the first, as soon as we got here. That was an amazing scene. I love the character. I loved Jason playing Rosalind. Like, I could listen to you doing that voice all day. If you could bring that back for other things, I would like that. Let's see, Akale and Rosalind, I wish I got more of those two together. Like, I feel like that's a show unto itself. Wishes are I want to see how the Steve Miller Band plays into Akala's religion, because I love that band. And I would also like to talk about Chekhov's harpoon. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world that Obeah had a harpoon, and I want to see that thing go off, or throw it. But all the players, you're a fun group, and this is a fun one. I appreciate it, guys. I feel like you guys are doing this at a very high level compared to what I'm used to. So it's fun to be with you guys. It's really cool.
Yep. Yeah, like this is my 5th game of the weekend, and I appreciate you all.
This is my 2nd of 3 trophy games this weekend, but I do have one actual little other wish. I want to see a combat roll. I don't know where, I don't know
Yeah.
why, I don't know how, but I want to see one.
I think we had one in the very beginning of the series, and then I don't know if we've had. Oh well, we fought the Guardians as well. We got combat
Yeah.
rolls there. We haven't had one in Winterbrook yet, though. So
I have a wish, but I don't know if I should say it or if I should just like hopefully do it next time.
And then you
I
should do
want
it.
I want to whatever is hiding in whatever the rot beneath Winterbrook is. I want it to fight the thing in my jar.
I think that's what Amanda was suggesting when
Yeah.
when she said like
Mhm.
unleash it on whatever is in the corner, right?
Yeah,
Um,
I felt that was a little early. Like I feel like once we
I
actually
I
see
think it'll be fun to see it in the finale if it comes to that. If it comes to that, you might discover that like I said at my wishes, I think we might be setting up like a conflict in the party, but we'll see. I don't know.
Just make friends with it. It's probably
Yeah.
fine.
Sure. Maybe the people of Winterbrook had it coming, right? I mean, like that's always a possibility, right? So
these white folks need to burn.
I do think that like it's interesting that Barnaby Wilcox. I think Barnaby Wilcox is the most interesting of the NPCs because Lindsay's fun too, but like because there's this sense of like Barnaby just trying to keep everyone safe and like not like it's not about zealotry for him. It's like, okay, these priests are here and they're supposed to be doing the thing. And so I'm going to let them play it out however they want to. Okay, well, they're dead now. So now it's on you, buddy. You know, like I think he's just there kind of like, I think he really truly does care about keeping Winterbrook safe. And, but he doesn't know how. And except he might know how. I think he was dropping hints when he was talking about the history of the town and the books, right?
Yeah.
So
I didn't want to take him up on the book offer because I thought he was just going to try to sneak parasites into our rooms. But now I'm thinking, I wish I read the history of the town.
I think he definitely is trying to like convey something to you, right? Without like saying it aloud. So, because he has a position that I think he's like doing his best to maintain, you know. Yeah, it was good. All right, well, if there's no more stars and wishes, we shall say goodbye.
Cool.